What if the person you trusted most, the one who was supposed to nurture and protect your family, became the one to shatter it? Imagine this. A grandmother, cradling her innocent grandchild, suddenly raises a gun. In an instant, everything changes. What could drive someone to commit such an unspeakable act? This is the story of Mia Harris, a grandmother from Liberty Township, Ohio, whose love turned deadly one cold December night. Grab your coffee because this tale will keep you on the edge of your seat. Haunting, shocking, and heartbreakingly real. The events unfolded just weeks before Christmas on December 9th, 2023. Most families were preparing for the holidays, but inside Mia Harris's daughter's home, tensions had been boiling. Family disputes, centered around money and betrayal, had reached their breaking point. Harris was convinced that her daughter and other relatives were trying to take advantage of her and abandon her. To her, the betrayal was unforgivable. "They crucified me, so I crucified them," she told investigators. Words that would send chills down the spine of even the most hardened detective. That night, the conflict erupted into unimaginable violence. Harris stormed into the house and dragged a family member out of bed, escalating the chaos and waking everyone. Desperate to protect themselves and the baby, her daughter and another family member locked themselves in a room with the 6-month-old infant, but they underestimated just how determined and dangerous Harris had become. When Harris forced her way into the room, she aimed at her daughter first, firing a shot that grazed her head. While the daughter miraculously survived with minor injuries, what came next was beyond comprehension. What Harris did next is the stuff of nightmares. Without hesitation, she turned the gun toward her own 6-month-old granddaughter, a baby barely starting her life, and pulled the trigger. A bullet to the head, but the horror didn't end there. In a grotesque twist, Harris picked up the injured baby, smiled, and handed her to the child's mother before calmly walking out of the house as if nothing had happened. The baby, clinging to life, was rushed to the hospital, where surgeons fought to remove the bullet and control swelling in her brain. Her survival would become a small miracle in a sea of devastation. Yet the emotional scars left behind are wounds that may never fully heal. After the shooting, Harris tried to flee the scene, driving the wrong way on Interstate 75 as law enforcement pursued her. Eventually, she returned to the family home, where deputies arrested her. But it was her behavior during the arrest that left investigators disturbed. When questioned about her actions, she said chillingly, "That was not my grandbaby," and followed it up with, "Sorry, not sorry," as if the baby meant nothing to her. At that moment, the detectives knew they weren't just dealing with a tragic family incident. This was a woman consumed by rage, paranoia, and possibly mental illness, who had committed a crime that defied all logic and humanity. In the aftermath, Harris initially pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity, but as the investigation progressed, she changed her plea. In September 2024, she accepted a plea deal. 1 count of felonious assault with a firearm specification in exchange for dropping the other assault charges. Some saw it as a necessary compromise to avoid the uncertainties of a full trial, but for the family, it was a hard pill to swallow. The question remained, did 9 years in prison truly reflect the horror of what she had done? At her sentencing on October 29th, 2024, Harris was given 9 years to 12 years in prison. But for the family, no sentence could ever undo the damage or erase the trauma. Harris's daughter and surviving family members now face an uphill battle of grief, recovery, and trust issues that could haunt them for a lifetime. This case struck a deep nerve in the Liberty Township community. People struggled to comprehend how a grandmother, a figure of nurturing love, could unleash such devastation. It forced a sobering reflection on mental health and family violence, areas often overlooked until it's too late. A GoFundMe page created by the baby's mother expressed the family's struggle. "Mental health is so much bigger than what anyone talks about. This situation has changed our lives forever." That sentiment echoed throughout the community, as neighbors came together to process what had happened and to support the family in their recovery. If you'd like to help support the family as they recover from this unimaginable tragedy, the GoFundMe page is linked in the description below. Any contribution, no matter how small, can make a difference in their healing journey. Your support means the world to those affected by this heartbreaking event. Stories like this challenge us to think about family, trust, and the hidden struggles that can lurk beneath the surface. How do you protect yourself when the person you fear most is the one you call family? And what could have been done differently to prevent such a tragedy? The case of Mia Harris reminds us of the fragility of mental health and the devastating impact of untreated emotional turmoil. It's a brutal reminder that family violence doesn't just happen out there. It can happen in the places we think we are safest. So, what do you think? Does 9 years feel like justice for an infant who barely escaped with her life? Should more have been done to address Mia Harris's mental health before things reached this breaking point? Let's discuss this in the comments. This case forces us to confront some uncomfortable truths, but those are the conversations we need to have if we ever hope to prevent future tragedies. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Crimes and Coffee. If this story left you shaken, make sure to subscribe for more. We cover the darkest corners of human behavior, bringing light to the cases that need it most. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and always keep your coffee hot.